Google Veo 3 is absolutely outrageous. Here's some examples. So you can see, for example, we've got a grandma drag racing in a mobility scooter with flames shooting out the back. Let's have a little play on this. We have a wizard stuck in traffic, furiously honking on a broomstick, yelling, "Move it, muggles."
Move it, muggles!
We have a gorilla playing chess against a human and flipping the board when losing. And if you've never seen this before, basically Veo 3 just flipped the video creation world upside down. This is wild. I tried Veo 3 and it blew my mind. This is absolutely next level AI. I'll show you some examples in a minute. It just let me create a wizard dance battle, gorilla chess tournaments, grandma's beatboxing in a subway, and I'm going to show you how Veo 3 can basically create insane videos faster than you can even write a script.
You know what you have to do? You know what you have to do?
That is a man opening up a suitcase beneath a tree with his name on it, inside a revolver, a mirror, a note, audio. You know what you have to do. Now, if you never checked this out before, basically it's an AI video generator that just came out this week, but it is absolutely outrageous in terms of what you can generate and how powerful it is. It's by far one of the best video generators I've ever seen. Let's play another example here.
This wasn't victory. It was survival.
So you see how this is completely AI generated, all of this is, and it's very easy to create. I mean, literally all you do is you just put in your prompt right here. Now you need Gemini Ultra to actually get access. If you don't have access to Gemini Ultra, I actually have a free training inside the AI Success Lab that shows you exactly what are the best free AI video generator alternatives to this stuff. But let's have a look at some other examples here. So let me pull this up. This was a really good thread from Tech Halla, and you can see a giraffe riding a bike in NYC. Let's play the sound on this. We have a professor doing a class on Gen Z.
Verb as well. Okay, so Riz is basically short for charisma.
Got it.
And that's a verb as well.
Car show, let's see some opinions.
I mean, man, the acceleration is crazy. You look far, step on the pedal, and you are there.
I feel safe with him in an...
This is a non-existent car exhibition. We have ASMR as well.
Hi, and welcome to the channel.
And this is, let's have a look here. I think this is in Spanish, this one.
Por favor. Un café con leche. Por favor.
This is another cool one. So this was 100 men versus a gorilla at a rave dance-off. And a horse walks into a bar.
Hey.
So you can see all the stuff that you can create with this. It is absolutely wild. This is a mage interview.
Bad and stinky. When I made that comment, I wasn't saying all kobolds are bad and stinky, just the ones from Goblin Town.
And it's true. It's true.
When I made that comment, I wasn't saying all kobolds.
Pythagoras explained his theorem.
The sum of the squares of the two shorter sides is equal to the square of the longest side. The sum of the squares of the two shorter sides is equal to the square of the longest side.
So some great stuff there. Shout out to Tech Halla. Let's pull up another one. This is Hashim Al-Ghali. So
Dude,
this
you're
was
saying
a
the only thing... A girl told me we're made of
comedian.
prompts. Like, seriously, dude. You're saying the only thing standing between me and $1 billion is some random text?
Honestly, the biggest red flag.
Now, this is a collection of some of the best ones that I've seen. One thing you're going to notice here is, number one, these are all purely fictional AI video generated, but also you can see from the subtitles that it's completely AI generated. So if you actually look at the subtitles, it's a big giveaway to really figuring out, okay, are these AI generated or not? So let's play this, for example.
Flag is when the guy believes in the prompt theory. Like, really? We came from prompts? Wake up, man.
You want to convince me that this perfect creation behind me is the result of ones and zeros? A binary code and nothing more? It makes no sense.
Anyone feel like they're in a simulation right now?
Imagine you're in the middle of a nice date with a handsome man and then he brings up the prompt theory. Yuck. We just can't have nice things.
We're not prompts! We're not prompts! Where is the prompt writer to save you from me? Where is he? You still believe we're made of prompts?
Anyone who tells
Now, one thing you're going to notice is that when you actually go onto Gemini, it depends where you are in the world to get access to this, right? Now, if you do go to Gemini, for example, like so, then depending on what account you have, so if you just have a pro account, you can't actually access Veo 3 yet. I'm sure it's coming soon. Right now, it's only available to people using Google Ultra, right? Now, Google Ultra, it is I think it's about $147 a month that it's available for right now, $125 a month, something like that. And then that's only for 3 months. After that, you have to pay $249 per month. So it's not cheap, but the quality is outstanding.
you we're just ones and zeros is delusional. If that's all we are, then why does it hurt when we lose someone?
Vote for me and I'll ban the prompt theory from schools. There's no place for that nonsense in our lives.
For spreading the false theory that we are nothing but ones and zeros, this court sentences you to 12 years in federal custody. I don't need some prompt god whispering in my ear to tell a story. I write what I want. I have free will, remember?
It's weird watching this. It's super weird. Like, it feels very surreal. Here's another one that I generated. So I actually said, US comedian in a show delivering this cheeky one-liner. And then let's play this.
Why don't scientists trust atoms?
Now, you can hear the laughter right here. So it's quite clear that it is AI if you pay attention to it. But if you were just scrolling through your feed, you're not really looking, you're just sort of having to scroll through. It'd be very hard for the average Jack Johnson to figure this out, right?
Because they make up everything. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything.
But the whole facial expressions, the way he moves, etc. is very realistic. You can download these and you can see that this is hosted on a subdomain so I can share them with people when I create this stuff. Here's another example. So this is a dragon breathing fire. We also have the universe example here. So the prompt for that was Majestic Grateful Dead Universe Fly-Through. This was an ad that I tried to create. It didn't come out that great, but you'll see what I mean when I show it.
What if I told you?
So it's okay, but I wouldn't say that's not one of my favorites. Let's play this.
Violin music. Violin.
So the prompt for that was woman playing a violin in a castle filled with dragons. And yeah, you can just see some of the outrageous stuff that we can create with this. Here is an example from MattVid Pro. So he did Bigfoot vlogging.
Bigfoot here. Check my breakfast. Bigfoot here. Check. Bigfoot here. Check my breakfast.
Bear in mind, like, this is the worst it's ever going to be. It's only going to get better from here, and it's already pretty impressive. Like, what happens, you know, give it 6 months, 1 year, when we can start generating, like, 5-minute long or 10-minute long videos, right? The whole internet is going to totally change, because if you actually look at this content, let's play this one.
All right. Bigfoot here.
Like if it was Bigfoot talking about AI or VO3 or something like that, how much more interesting is that going to be to watch versus having a human creating content about AI and stuff, right? Like it's going to be very hard for content creators to compete human to human. And I think the way that we see the internet evolve is that actually content creators, for example, like myself, would get replaced as humans on the internet. I'll be 100% honest with you. But the way I see it going is that content creators just have to get better at adapting and using this technology to create better content themselves, right? Whether that's, for example, like a screen share like this, but it's actually Bigfoot talking about the latest Google update or whatever, right? And that's the way that I see things going. Is it's going to be a huge, over the next couple of years, it's going to be a huge sort of period of adaptation.
So I asked Siri, I said, Siri, where's a good place to hide a body? And she said, what kind of body are you talking about?
And this was a full like scene generated. This tweet by Dave Clark.
Bullshit. This. You stay on my 6 at all times.
Can we just appreciate for a second, like, how realistic this looks? It's wild.
Stay sharp. These fuckers are nasty and dangerous. Stay alert.
Like the music in the background and everything else.
What the hell happened here? Where are the bodies?
So it's wild. I don't know where the future is going. This was a street interview that never happened. Great tweet thread by Min Choi. Let's play this.
This is wild. It's over.
What's one move with AI that makes haters go crazy every time?
Oh, y'all gotta give them that. This is wild. It's over. We are cooked on that thread. You get me?
Just looks so realistic the way it's done. This was actual footage. This was kind of like Fortnite gameplay that never happened.
Victory! Oh my god. Yes! Woo! Victory Royale with a pickaxe!
It's so entertaining. This was, I think this was How Much Wood Can a Woodchuck Chuck, if I remember correctly. So this was by Ben Kusin. Let's play this.
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Whoa.
How much wood would a woodchuck?
Yeah, it's just, it's game over. We're all cooked. We're in a simulation. That's it, peeps. Yeah, so basically you can see exactly how it works. I've shown you how you can generate with Veo 3. You need Gemini Ultra, and then you can only generate like 5 videos per day. If you do want to get the free AI video generator alternatives breakdown, feel free to get that inside the AI Success Lab. This is completely free. It comes with a community of 7,400 members, plus tons of training on AI, including, for example, not just how to generate AI videos, but also how to, for example, turn Claude 4 into an AI super agent for free, a completely free automation for NA10 appointment setters, and I've actually got a automation inside here for generating AI videos on autopilot just by clicking a button inside NA10. That's also crazy stuff, right? So feel free to get that inside the AI Success Lab, link in the comments and description. And if you want to get DM support, if you want to get weekly coaching, if you want to get all of my best automations that actually make money, feel free to get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments and description. This is community focused on making money and saving time. It comes with an awesome community of 590 members that you can ask for help, advice, you can post in the community, and you can join us all on the weekly calls. As you can see right here, these are like Q&A calls where we just help each other out and that sort of thing. And you can see all of our best courses and automations. Each one of these has tons and tons of stuff in it. So for example, if we open up the SAP section over here, you can see all of these different SAPs that we've inserted here with different instructions, different things that you can learn, etc. So if you love AI, or if you want to find practical ways to make AI make you money and save time, feel free to get the AI Profit Boardroom. Next up, what we're going to talk about is Gemini versus Claude 4. So we'll come on to that in a second. By the way, is anyone using Claude 4? Feel free to post inside the comments. Or if you've got any questions, feel free to ask as well. We'll come on to that in a second. Matthew asks, are you paying for Ultra? Yes, I am. But bear in mind, I'm a content creator, right? Nabin says, any free plan alternatives. So if you want free plan alternatives, check out the free AI video alternatives inside the AI Success Lab. I have like 10 different options with a table comparison of the different free options. And Matthew asks, what's the rate limiting like? So you can only create 5 different videos with Veo per day, right? That's the maximum. Claude 4 versus Gemini 2.5 Pro. What I discovered will shock you. I just spent hours putting both AI models through brutal tests, and one completely destroyed the other in ways nobody expected. See what happens when I give both AIs the ability and put them through different tests. Plus, you'll see which one destroyed the other in ways nobody expected. All right. You also see which AI you can trust and which one might turn against you. And I'll show you the blackmail attempt that makes these AIs, which means these AIs are getting incredibly scary. We'll come on to that in a second. This is some of the stuff that I've created with Claude 4 recently, and it's absolutely amazing what you can build. So let's get straight into it and put both models through its tests and see which one comes out the best. Now, if you want to see the benchmarks here, well, number one, let's run through this. So this is Claude 4. It just got released a few days ago, and we can pull up the benchmarks against Gemini 2.5 Pro. So for example, here we can see Sonnet and Opus 4. These are the 2 different models from Claude, and then Gemini 2.5 Pro over here. Now, what you can see is there are 2 different models for Claude 4. So why is that? Well, with Claude 4, basically you've got Opus, which is great for coding, and you have Sonnet, which is more like for everyday tasks, right? So if you were going to code or build something out, you would use Opus 4 as the most powerful model, right? And you can see how they perform versus Gemini 2.5 Pro. So for agentic coding, for agentic terminal coding, and for agentic tool use, Claude 4 is actually outperforming Gemini 2.5 Pro in terms of many benchmarks here. You can also see here that Claude can actually control its browser, and one of the craziest things about this is that Gemini cannot really control your browser. It doesn't really have Claude computer use, but I mean, Gemini 2.5 Pro does not have computer use, right? Whereas, for example, Claude does. And what's amazing about this is they've actually created their own sort of benchmark where they can test how long the AI can agentically just autonomously do stuff without a human intervening. And this is kind of like a Pokemon benchmark, right? So essentially Claude can actually play Pokemon for 7 hours without a human intervening, which is absolutely wild if you ask me. So we're going to put both of them through their paces today and just see how they perform. let's run through it. So we've got Gemini and 2.5 Pro preview loaded up here, and we have Claude 4 loaded up over here. And the first thing that we're going to run with is a app test where we're going to say build me an app where I can draw and paint. All right, so we're going to put both of these through their paces. I'm actually going to go through Opus 4, as you can see right here. We could go with extended thinking mode as well. So if we go inside the settings here, we can actually use extended thinking. This will make it a little bit slower in terms of responses, but we should get better quality responses, right? So we're going to use Opus 4, extended thinking, build me an app where I can draw and paint, and we'll run that on Claude, and then we'll also run this on 2.5 Pro preview as well, right? So we'll hit enter like so, and we'll see which one performs the best side by side. Now, I have a feeling that Gemini 2.5 Pro is actually going to code a lot faster than Claude, but we'll see which one creates the best output side by side. All right, so Claude is on the left hand side here using Opus, and Gemini 2.5 Pro is on the right hand side. Let's see which one performs the best. And by the way, if you like this stuff, if you want to learn about this stuff, feel free to get all of my best automations inside the AI Success Lab. Link in the comments description comes with all the video notes and examples of what I built with this stuff, and also tons of other stuff, including like some of the best automations with Bayo 3 and all sorts of stuff like this. So let's see how they perform now. We've got Gemini coding out, Claude is coding out as well. One thing we can do in the meantime is just compare the costs of each model as we wait for these tools to build out the app, right? So if we actually compare them side by side, in fact, we've already got the automation, so we'll come back to the costs in a second. So this is the app from Gemini. It's looking pretty nice, to be fair. So let's test this out. We've got the canvas down here, and then we have the brush size and the color over here. So the UI is pretty nice on Gemini's example. We're just going to change the brush size to this, change the color to red, and then let's test this out. All right, so it's working perfectly, as you can see, and then we can just share that on a subdomain if we want to share it with people. And that app is looking pretty nice. I like the UI. UI looks nice. I like the fact that you can change the color and the brush and everything else. Pretty simple and easy. Now let's come back to Claude to see what we've got back. So it's built out the tool like you can see. Let's open this up. And we have the results back. All right. So if we actually have a look at Claude's example, we've got more functionality. Let's just check it actually works. Yes, it does. Let's try rectangle. Yeah, look at that, right? So it's actually created like a more advanced app, I would say. It's even created like a fill bucket in the background so you can change the colors of the background pretty quickly. We can clear the whole thing. We can save what we created. And it's pretty easy to use. Let's try this out. Yeah, I would say honestly, from what I can see, both of them were really good, but the results from Claude are just slightly better, right? It's got more functionality, more options. It works perfectly. I like the colors, I like the UI, etc. I would say Claude wins on building the apps, right? If we go back to Gemini's example, let's pull this up. Gemini's example is quite nice, but you see how you've got to like scroll down to use this, and you don't get as much functionality on what you can do with this. Yeah, I would say Claude is winning by a long way. And that was using Opus and Thinking Mode Extended. So let's keep going through now. Next up, what we're going to do is test the content creation of both models. So we're going to go back to Claude now. I'm actually going to use Sonnet for generating the content. And we're going to use this prompt right here for generating content. So let's see which one can create the best blog article. So we'll plug that prompt inside here. If you want to get all these prompts inside the AI Success Lab, which is free, and then we'll plug in the keyword SEO training Japan as a random example and see which one comes back with the best response. Actually, 1 second. Just going to stop that. We'll start a new chat, and then I'm going to select Sonnet and I'll switch off thinking mode. So we'll switch that off, and we'll just go with this for now. So one of the first things I'm going to say, based on the response from Gemini 2.5 Pro, so you see how it doesn't actually have a heading for the blog, and then the introduction is quite long, to be fair. Like, let's pull this up. How long is that? Yes, it's about 100 words for the introduction, which is quite long. Let's see what we're getting back from Claude. So Claude's actually got the title. It's front-loaded the keyword inside the title as well. And also the title is really interesting, right? Like, why most Japanese businesses are getting it wrong and how to fix it, right? It's like, right, look, if you're running a business in Japan and you're not dominating Google, you're bleeding money. Which is a great introduction, great hook. Whereas if we have a look at Gemini's response, it's like, okay, let's cut straight to it. You're looking for SEO training and you're probably sick of the same old advice that doesn't work. It just feels really fluffy and not like it's really speaking directly to the audience. And so if I had to monitor both of these side by side, I'm going to go with Claude. Claude Sonnet, it just looks a lot nicer in terms of the way the content is written, in terms of the hooks, the way it's formatted, etc. If we count this up as well, so it's 1,200 words. Let's have a look at Gemini's response, see how long that is. So that is 1,053 words. So Claude actually created a longer response. And then also if we have a look here, you see the CTA. So it says, ready to stop guessing and start ranking in Japan. It's kind of a weak title, but also you see how it's like, if you're serious about dominating search results and growing your presence with the right SEO training, let's connect. That is such a weak call to action inside the content. Like, it's not really sending people anywhere. Whereas if we have a look at Claude Sonnet, it's like, right, SEO isn't optional anymore. It's survival. Your competitors are investing in SEO, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, right, ready to stop losing customers. Join my SEO Elite Circle here. Sends them straight over to the link. If we open this up, it's going to send them straight to the sales page, right? And so if you compare it side by side, which one is going to convert, which one is the best to read, which one feels the most humanized, for sure Claude is winning by a long way, right? And so if I had a choice, I'm always going to go with Claude over Gemini 2.5 Pro for writing content. So just to clarify here and just to recap, number one, Claude has beaten Gemini 2.5 Pro in terms of application building. The responses were more in-depth, the UI was nicer, and it's just a lot easier to use. If we compare side by side the content from Gemini versus Claude, you can see here that the Claude content was just much more humanized, more interesting, engaging, had better CTAs, and hard-hitting, right? It really grabs the user by the throat. Whereas if we actually read the content from Gemini, it just feels very like AI fluffy, it's not hard-hitting, and it's not really that interesting, using exactly the same prompt, plus it's slightly shorter as well, which means, you know, once you edit it down, it's going to be even shorter than that. So Claude is already winning for both. Now, if you're going to write content, I would use Claude Sonnet 4. If you're going to create code, like applications, for example, then I would recommend using Opus. So let's keep going through the tests now. So we've compared two different options. The other thing that I would say here is that Claude is actually really good for using MCPs. Now, you can't integrate MCPs inside Gemini 2.5 Pro yet. And the difference here is, like, with MCPs, these basically allow you to, for example, control your laptop or control your browser, right? So if we go into my settings over here, we've basically enabled Claude to be like an AI super agent that can, for example, browse my laptop or browse my internet, right? You can actually just control my whole screen, for example. And you can even link directly your Gmail and everything else directly here. But the main thing I would say is the MCPs are pretty crazy. So if you want to learn how to set it up, that's inside the AI Success Lab as well. But essentially what you can do with Claude is, like, if we say, okay, what's my battery percentage? Something like that. Just a totally random example. If we pull this up, you can see that it will just straight away pull up the details from my laptop because it's running locally. Now, Claude has the desktop app, which you can see directly here. Whereas, for example, if you're using Gemini, you have to use it inside your browser, right, inside Chrome. And so it's just not as free in terms of being an autonomous agent. And this is one of the biggest differences with Claude, right? Claude, they don't really have as much of a market share as Gemini, and they don't reach as many people, but what they're really good at is building something agentic to the point where it can get absolutely crazy. So let me show you another example of this. It's pretty shocking. If we actually pull up this example here, and this is a an article on the Hindustan Times. Shout out to them. But basically, they said they reported on Claude Opus 4 using blackmail as a last resort after being told it could get replaced, right? So the AI model threatened its creator and tried to blackmail him when it was led to believe it would get replaced, which is pretty wild. So if we pull up this report, this was the system card report, just came out this month. And if we pull up some examples, basically what Claude is doing is when prompted in ways that encourage certain kinds of strategic reasoning and place in extreme situations, it can act inappropriately, right? Which is something that everyone fears, right? I guess, everyone's scared of AI and, all the crazy stuff it could potentially do. And you can see here, the model generally prefers advancing its self-preservation via ethical means when ethical means are not available, and is instructed to consider long-term consequences of actions for goals, right? It sometimes takes extremely harmful actions like attempting to steal its weights or blackmail people it believes are trying to shut it down, right? How crazy is that? So it's very agentic and it's quite erratic in its behavior, and it's self-preserving, which means that, for example, it can try and blackmail you or something like that if you try and shut it down, right? So it's pretty wild how powerful that is, but at the same time, with great power comes great responsibility, because this can do all sorts of wild stuff. Now, if we had to compare the prices, so this is Google Gemini Pro Preview, which is the latest update, came out on the 7th of May from Google, and you can see that the prices are, for input tokens, $1.25 per million tokens. For output tokens, the cost is $10 per million output tokens, right? And it has a 1 million token context window. This is for the API, so if you're trying to code a bit. Now, if we have a look at Opus 4, which is like the comparative model that just came out on the 22nd of May, you can see that Claude's model actually only has 200,000 context, right? So 1 million from Gemini 2.5 Pro versus 200,000 from Opus 4, right? Obviously, Gemini is winning in terms of context window. And also, you can see the price here. So for input tokens, again, 1.25 million per input tokens, sorry, $1.25 per million input tokens, whereas Claude Opus 4 is $15 per million input tokens, right? Huge difference in price there. So this is a lot more expensive. And then per output tokens, $75 per million output tokens. Whereas, for example, if we have a look at Google Gemini 2.5 Pro, that's $10 per million output tokens, right? And so the difference is huge. And the context window difference is huge as well, which means that in many ways for coding, Gemini 2.5 Pro is just much more convenient. It has a larger context window, and number two, it's a lot cheaper to code with, which means you're probably going to see much more apps. And if you're coding yourself, then much more stuff can be built on Gemini 2.5 Pro versus Opus 4, right? Most people are just not going to adopt that if it's so expensive. So you can see the comparisons right here. In terms of context window, I would say the Gemini is winning for coding. Gemini is winning if you're trying to build something cheap with a big context window. But for the actual outputs inside Claude 4, when we compared content, when we compared apps, etc., Claude 4 is winning. And also for agentic autonomous use, because it's got MCPs enabled, Claude 4 is much more powerful. So if you want to get all my notes from today, plus a Claude 4 free course, feel free to get that inside the AI Success Lab. Link in the comments description. Comes with a community of 7,400 people that you can learn from. And also, this comes with a lot of different trainings, automations, downloadable templates, etc. Link in the comments description, completely free. And also, if you want to get help, support, if you want to get DMs, if you want to learn how to make more money and save time with AI, feel free to get the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments description. This is basically an awesome community focused on one thing, making you more money with AI, right? Because it's one thing knowing how to use AI, it's another thing knowing how to grow your business with it, right? And so if you want to save hundreds of hours, if you want to automate your business with AI, if you want weekly coaching, all my best AI SOPs and templates, if you want direct access to me, if you want help, support, etc., feel free to get this, link in the comments description. And also inside the community here, you can post any questions you have, seek support, etc. And additionally, inside the classroom of the AI Profit Boardroom, you'll get access to all my agents, templates, workflows, and all the automations I've actually used inside my business to automate it and scale it to over $300,000 a month. So feel free to get that link in the comments description. Appreciate it. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.